All right, so here's a matchup that was going to be against Storm, and I believe we were on the draw. So obviously I didn't know it was Storm at first, but here we got not the worst hand in the world. We have mana to develop. We got a Brainstorm to shuffle away a lot of the crap. Ironically enough, this is the second time I'm recording, the second time I've had Volk in my opening hand. But either way, I'm keeping this. You know, it's still got protection to some crazy stuff on turn 1. Not the greatest hand in the world, but I like it. And let's see, are they mulliganing? Maybe? Okay, so they mulligan to 6. Ponder, cool. Force, not bad. Okay, playing Flooded here. And I am pondering because I have a Force backup. And I didn't see anything I liked there. So that was a simple shuffle. You figure with a basic island, back to basics isn't going to be all that great. I believe a Snapcaster, that's nice to see. Main phase Brainstorm. Digging for stuff. So at this point I was guessing it was on Storm. Polluted Delta helped with that, although it could have been like Grixis or something. But yeah. And at this point I'm liking where I am. Next turn I can do end of turn Brainstorm. I can keep up Spell Pierce. I can do land go pretty much. Let's see what we get here. Awesome, not bad. So here I'm playing the Mesa because I like the opportunity of being able to cast Brainstorm end of turn and fetch away, which I have a great hand for doing. So land go, exactly how I like playing. Now here I had a lot of choices. I could have brainstormed, put stuff back on top, and then, you know, lost some lands. I could have done nothing, let them take something. But here I just prefer to Spell Pierce. I like doing that because it conceals my hand, and it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade anyway, and they're not going to be able to pay for it, so I opted with Spell Pierce. Fine by me, preordain. Okay, so I want to play Narset next turn because I can play that. I can get obviously another card from it. So this is a time where I'm going to want to Brainstorm because I have a third turn play and I have backup. So I'm going to crack this and actually get a Tundra because we're playing Storm. We don't have to worry about Wasteland. So there goes that. And let's fire it off. Not bad. Okay, so one of these is going to go back on top, obviously. So what I want to do here is that I don't need this because right now I have blue, blue, white. So I might want to get this in case I need a Council's Judgment. Right now, Council's Judgment is in my deck. Probably not going to need it, but either way, I wanted to conceal the fact that I play Volk because that means I'm going to bring Blast in next game. So what I decided to do is do Volk on top and then Plains on top of that. Yes, okay, so I'm going to draw the Plains, and I'm playing Narset, which means I get to shuffle away that, what's it called, the Volcanic. Let's use that. Great spot for it. It's funny how sometimes I wish like the cards I want wouldn't show up here, you know, because then obviously they're going to know I have a Force in my hand. Little do they know I have more than one Force in my hand, but that's great nevertheless, unless they're playing Cabal Therapy, which I don't think Storm plays unless someone, you know, decide to try that out for a day. Who knows? Either way, if they did do that, I'd probably force it. Okay, so they got nothing going on here. Narset doing well. A land. Okay, so actually a lot of options here. I believe what I decided to do is probably play a land and then ponder. I mean, let's look at the options here. I can play land and pretty much do nothing. I don't want to Brainstorm because my hand is amazing. Ponder seems like a good choice. I could, you know, do nothing and I can still ponder and then Snapcaster Mage Spell Pierce. So I believe what I did here is play the Flooded Strand because that's a great fetch land, and then ponder. Okay, I did that first. Forgot about that. Okay, so this isn't bad. Brainstorm, we don't need to have one, plus my hand is stacked. Batterskull, I am not looking to hard cast that. So Spell Snare is great. That can hit their, you know, the card they can hit, the tutor. And so here I believe I Brainstormed. Yes. Awesome. So we do need pressure because we're not going to sit here by winning. So what I believe I did was just like random Stoneforge. Yeah. And what I did here is crack that for an island. And I played that for the shuffle. Now I still have Spell Snare up. I still have a million Force of Wills. The shields are slightly down, but that's okay. I don't mind that. I need to get a clock going because they can still win despite all, Narset not allowing them to draw, depending on what they get. It's going to be challenging, but you got to give that to combo. They find ways to win very quickly and easily sometimes, even when you've got a crazy hand. So here, I'm looking at land go. My favorite type of playing because we got Spell Snare, we got Snapcaster, Spell Pierce, we got Brainstorm, we've got a lot of stuff going on. So let's play land and pass. They can have that. I'm not worried about a Dark Ritual. And I'm not worried about this as well. They take a Force of Will, fine. They take a Spell Snare, fine. I can still Snapcaster, Spell Snare, I can still Snapcaster, Spell Pierce. So I am completely fine with them having this, except for the fact I don't want them to have my Batterskull. So what I decided to do, obviously, is dump that in. That still leaves up Snapcaster, Spell Pierce mana as well. Okay, Infernal Tutor. I felt like this was a bait. They knew I had a Snapcaster. So I obviously could have Snapcaster Spell Snare that. They also have 5 cards in their hand, so I'm not all that scared about what they're going to get with that. So I let them have it. What they end up getting. Dark Ritual, maybe? I don't know, it didn't say. Either way. Sure. I don't remember it showing that they played a land because I don't have the thing up here. But either way, this is where I Snapcaster and Spell Pierce because they're not going to be able to pay for that. And after that, they'd only be able to go off if they had like a Mana Rock, a Lotus Petal, whatever. So I decided to Snapcaster, Spell Pierce. They don't have any other black mana, so like I said, they'd need like a Lotus Petal, and they had seen enough. All right, so pretty simple. That was a very... It's crazy because the original draw wasn't amazing, but you saw how like Brainstorm can really help sculpt your hand when you have a lot of lands. Ponder was nice. Drawing the Force of Will is nice. Narset was amazing. I don't know if they were stuck with a lot of Ponders or Brainstorms, Preordains in their hand, but it certainly helped with the card advantage. I got a Force of Will and I got a Spell Snare that put more blue cards in my hand, so that was fun. Probably not for my opponent, but let's go to game number 2. All right, so... close that. Game number 2. On the draw, obviously. So, I do bring in Surgical in this. You actually see how I use it. A lot of games where I don't have a ton of things to bring in, or, it can be helpful when it comes to Graveyard. Hate in terms of, because I don't know if this deck plays Past in Flames. I'm still not. I know there's Tess and Ant, so it's Ad Nauseam Tendrils, and then the other one, I'm not sure. I think Test is Empty the Warrens, that's the E, but either way, I'm rambling. I like bringing this in for information. It gives me a good... Not only can I snipe a card that they have, sometimes you can catch them with another one in their hand, but it lets you know if you're okay to put your shields down, and that's a very important aspect in a lot of combo decks. So this one I didn't keep. I have no counterspells. Polluted Delta to Ponder, I got to look for stuff. I just didn't like the way I was going to be playing. I'd obviously lose to a turn 1. If they thought Seize Me and didn't do anything, that wouldn't be as bad because I'd still have Ponder Brainstorms, but I decided to mulligan this one. Plus, I was on the draw, so that's not bad. Okay, so this. Not the best in the world. I didn't take out True-Name because I don't think there was much. I brought in a lot for this, I'll tell you that much. But True-Name's a clock at least. But the fact of the matter is, let's worry about this at the time. I like this. It's got a Spell Pierce. If they want to get rid of that, that's fine. And we can keep this and easily bottom a True-Name. So I went with that. Okay, so. Nothing. That's what I like to see. So. Ponder's not bad, definitely not playing it. Actually, a mistake I made here was playing the Arid Mesa. What I should have done is just play Island. Like, I don't need to keep... I could have, faked that for like a Red Blast or something, but playing the Island here means I wouldn't have to crack it, which means, it can help with my Ponders. So, there I should have just played the Island. Okay, because now I need to crack this. Well, first and foremost, do I let it go? Do I keep it? This hand is very weak. I'm guessing what they would probably do is take the Spell Pierce, and then, you know, this is going to take a few turns. That might not even get played. I got nothing really for the Snapcaster unless I draw a land and wait another turn. I'd have to Ponder would probably be my best option. So what I wanted to do here was just pretty much disguise the weakness of my hand. I didn't have the greatest hand, so at least if we're going to trade 1 for 1, yeah, they lose 2 life, but by doing this, they don't lose 2 life. I would have rather countered this, and, you know, as if I was protecting a Counterspell or a Force of Will. So that's done. So, not bad. Okay, like how it is, unless after this they play a Lotus Petal, of course. But they didn't. Okay. So, this is a lot of options here. What I can do is, obviously, first I'm playing a land. I can Stoneforge and leave my defenses down, which I didn't want to do. I can Ponder, hoping that I find, you know, like Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce, Spell Snare, Force of Will. Here what I decided to do is what I usually decide to do. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll probably already know what it is land, go. I wanted to hold up Counterspell. Here once again, okay, I Spell Pierce the first one. Now I have Counterspell. Really, my hand is extremely weak. I feel like they'd probably just take the Counterspell. So I feel it is better to trade Counterspell for Duress, where they can't at least see what I have. So that's what I did. Because they also don't know what's in my hand. I could have a Force of Will, which they might think that I do have, which I don't. Okay, so here's the part where it comes up with Surgical, what I really like. So first, I was going to... My choice was between Ponder or Stoneforge. I needed mana. You know, I need some type of... I need a Force of Will, a Flusterstorm, whatever it's going to be. So the first thing I decided to do was actually Surgical. They're preordained. I could have Surgical Duress or Thoughtseize, but I didn't care too much about those. So I wanted information because this is one of the best reasons why I like this is, what do I do here? Well, let's find out what they have in their hand. The 2 life isn't going to be as big of a deal. So what they had right here, Cabal Ritual, Dark Ritual, Infernal Tutor, Tendrils. So they pretty much need like a, what, Lion's Eye Diamond maybe? They need a little bit more, because even if they casted all of this, you know, it'd be like 1... I'm not going to do the math. I'm not a Storm player, but let's see what else they brought in. So they brought an Exalted Swarm. I kept in 1 Swords for that, actually. Everything else looks pretty standard. Ad Nauseam, Past in Flames. Okay. So I removed all those. I made sure I checked out what they had in their deck. So for Game 3, I'll know that they're bringing in 1 of these. That's fine. Then got rid of the one in the graveyard. So this is what they were working with. So as of right now, I'm not a Storm player, but they need to draw something else that's going to help them. I don't think they can kill me as that is. So Surgical served the purpose for me. So here, I'm like, I know I'm going to get a land, so I'm pondering. Because I need to develop my land. And what do you know? There's that 1 Swords that I brought in, and Clique. Unfortunately, those aren't going to do anything, so I shuffled them off to Buffalo. And luckily enough, the good old trusty Volcanic Island that I keep talking about came back. So this could also be another great spot, too. If they had, you know, cards that were in the graveyard, you could also pick them off, you know, get rid of cards in their hand. Here's played the Stoneforge. Batterskull. I keep the Jitte every now and then for the extra card. Helps with Brainstorm, although that is something you can definitely take out. There have been times where I'm like, oh, I wish I kept that Jitte just, you know, to help. Yep. Infernal Tutor. Yep, so we've known about those cards. They got another Cabal Ritual. So that's 1. That's 2. Whatever that is. And then they pretty much just had their... what's it called? Tendrils, and they gave up. So, like I said, I'm not all that familiar with Storm. I'm sure I took some type of chance, just, you know, putting my shields down, but I also didn't have anything, so there wasn't much option there. Pretty straightforward match. This is one of those matches I know I'm going to get a lot better at once I actually recognize more of the cards they have, what they do, and what they can do. All the matchups that, like, I've played multiple times, or decks like Death and Taxes that I have, are very easy for me because I know the threats they have, I know what the possibilities are, and I feel Storm, the more I play it, the more I play it, the better I'm gonna get at it. Just from learning a bunch more. But that, in a nutshell, was Stoneblade versus Storm. Nice little 2-0. Finishing up that matchup. Thanks for watching.